Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Grossi Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Yeah, this hire is not going to go over well. Grossi, and today, breaking news, the Green Bay Packers will be hiring Joe Bary as their defensive coordinator for the 2021-2022 NFL season. And there's a lot to talk about here. Obviously, we had a video earlier this week in which we broke down a number of the candidates, kind of like went through all of them. As the week progressed, it seemed that Evero, and you had Bary, and you also had Leonard, who were the three front runners. It was reported that yesterday that Leonard was offered the job, the defensive coordinator from Wisconsin, which he turned down to stay as a defensive coordinator in Wisconsin. So obviously he was the number one choice. And so at that point, many people thought like, oh, all right, well then it's going to be Evero's job. Nay. Nay. So instead, Joe Bary is now our new defensive coordinator. And in case you didn't watch that video, just to give you like a brief summary of what's going on with Joe Bary and looking at his resume, he's actually, there's some confusion going on. He's been on the Rams for the past couple of years. However, he was signed by the Chargers like a couple weeks ago. So technically he was just on the Chargers. So yeah, he was just been there for a couple of weeks. Before that, he's been the Rams linebacker coach and their assistant head coach. He also has defensive coordinator experience as the Lions defensive coordinator and also for Washington. He served as the Lions defensive coordinator in 2007 to 2008 and in Washington from 2015 to 2016. We'll talk about those defenses momentarily. And there's a couple reasons why Bary was most likely chosen over Evero, and a lot of it's going to probably come down to experience. Bary has 19 years of coaching experience in the NFL. In addition, he does have history with Matt LaFleur. They worked together on the Rams. But let's take a look at the bad stuff first, because this is what you're going to see all around Packers Twitter. So, the thing that's going to be harped on, and rightfully so, is that when Bary was a defensive coordinator for both of those teams that I mentioned, those defenses were really bad. When he was with Detroit, that defense ranked 32nd in yards allowed and points allowed for 2 years straight. Yeah. Then when he got a chance in Washington to do it again, he ranked 28th in yards allowed for both years, and then 17th in 2015 and 19th in 2016. So yeah, not the greatest stats that you want to hear in the world. However, we do need to mention the good stuff. Obviously, he's been working with the Rams for quite some time, and during that time, that defense has been phenomenal. And more specifically, as I mentioned in the video before, what I like to see is the players that he develops. And the guy who's really associated with Joe Bary is Corey Littleton. When he worked with Corey Littleton was an absolute stud, and he was one of the best inside linebackers in the league. He was a guy that I wanted the Packers to go out and get before the Raiders scooped him up. And so looking at that, I'm like, okay, I feel at least a little bit more optimism. And obviously, as a linebackers coach, that is his specialty. He even won a Super Bowl with John Gruden as the linebackers coach. And I think that if there's any positives that you can pull out of here, it's that linebackers for the Green Bay Packers have been such a toss to the side, don't even care about position for quite some time. And they've never really been a priority. You're bringing in a guy who has a ton of experience, especially as a linebackers coach. Maybe this is finally the time we make it a priority. If he did this with Corey Littleton, maybe he could do this with guys like Chris Barnes or even Kamal Martin, right? Kamal Martin showed some great flashes last year. Who knows? Maybe we'll even go out and get another inside linebacker since, Christian Kirksey is okay. But I know it's really easy to kind of get into the doom and gloom mode right now, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to work out. However, what I will tell you is that when we hired Nathaniel Hackett as our offensive coordinator, I was also very, very skeptical. And if you look at this past year, their offense is incredible, and basically all the players love him. Now, a caveat, Hackett isn't calling the plays. So this is a different beast here. But the point and what I'm trying to make is Matt LaFleur has a really good sense of this football team. And if Matt LaFleur is looking at Joe Bary and is giving him the responsibility of running their defense, I kind of just have to trust the process and hope it works out. Joe Bary has more talent than ever on this Packers defense than he ever had in Washington or Detroit, and that might be the difference there. So for right now, this is our new defensive coordinator, and we kind of just have to hope it works out. And listen, Bary's going to have an uphill battle. Right off the bat, you're going to have many fans that are going to be opposed to this hiring. It's up to him to prove them wrong. Let's see if he does it. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.